Sports. It's all about passion. Now, wait a minute. I'm sure when some of you think of sports, the first thing that comes to mind is a relaxing evening, huddled around the TV with your family, enjoying the display of skills from both teams. Or maybe just your own. Of course, others among you will imagine rage fests, shouting at the screen, grown people bawling their eyes out. Just complete chaos. Sports brings out extreme emotions in us. When your team wins, you feel on top of the world. But when they lose, you feel like crawling in a hole and dying. Don't believe me? Well, what if I told you a 1968 World Cup qualifier football match between El Salvador and Honduras led to war between the two countries? Around 4,000 people lost their lives in the conflict still known as the Football War. This is exactly why sports can be manipulated by governments and political movements to further their aims. Well, how does this work? And how does it affect the sports themselves? I'm Daniyal, and this is what I will be talking about today. Firstly, politics can have a profound impact on who plays the sports. Parallel to the women's rights movement making great strides towards an equal world, sports became more gender diversified as well. According to Statista, less than 1% of Summer Olympic athletes were women in 1904. Today, however, 48.7% are women. This is due to a shift in social attitude towards women in sports, as well as effort and investments from the government. It is giving women around the world thousands of new opportunities, a great benefit. Additionally, while the women's rights movement helped female athletes equally helped spotlight the movement. In 1968, a woman named Catherine Switzer entered for the Boston Marathon race. This race was supposed to be exclusively for men, so she hid her identity to get in. When she finished, her bib number of 261 became an immortal symbol of women's rights around the world and showed that women were capable of doing many things once thought to be impossible. And to think that one of the race supervisors tried to rip it off when he spotted her in the crowd. In addition to changes for good, there have also been attempts to use sports to discriminate and spread hate. In 1938, Nazi Germany won rights to host the Summer Olympics. The notorious Adolf Hitler wanted to use this opportunity to project the superiority of the Aryan race by seeing the German athletes win big in their home country. According to the Holocaust Encyclopedia, he thought this would help to mask the evil of his regime. Unfortunately for him, and fortunately for the rest of the world, this did not go to plan. An African-American athlete by the name of Jesse Owens stole the show, becoming the cover star of the Games and overshadowing his German counterparts. He won 4 gold medals according to the Olympics, foiling Hitler's plan. This defeat was a big blow to the Nazis, showing that events in sports can truly sway world events and have big consequences. Another political trend which changed the sports landscape forever is colonization. Colonization is defined as the process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area. Specifically, European powerhouses exported European sports to their subjects, completely changing which sports these countries play to this day. Now, to prove my point, let's study this map of the most popular sports in the world by Earl Andrews. Football, invented right here in the UK, has spread across the world at an unprecedented scale. Nowadays, it is nearly impossible to go anywhere without seeing football jerseys for sale on the road. Similarly, the Indian subcontinent and Australia are dominated by cricket, another British invention. According to the Olympics, pre-colonial Indian sports include ancient contact sports like kabaddi, as well as polo. Notably, polo has been taken over by the elite of many Western nations, such as the United States and Argentina. Meanwhile, Indigenous Australian sports include this spear throwing game as well as this popular ball game. While the Indian sports have professional leagues dedicated to them, the Australian sports are no longer played in an organized setting, according to creative spirits. They are dying out. Even China, which came under very limited British influence, holds the British invented sport of ping pong as the supreme sport of its country. Another aspect of the sports politics nexus is the use of sports as a platform to send messages. Often, conflicts and boycotts can leak over into sports. For example, in 2016, Islam al-Shahabi of Egypt refused to shake hands with opponent judoka Or Sasson of Israel. The Jisei Judo Club has detailed the importance of the handshake as a demonstration of respect and a willingness to be friendly. Unfortunately, the animosity between the two fighters resulted in this sacred rule being broken. In a similar light, when Fethi Nourine of Algeria realized he would be facing Israeli judoka Tohar Butpul in the next round of the Olympics, he decided to withdraw from the competition altogether after dedicating most of his life to making an appearance. Fethi told CNN that his support for Palestine made it impossible for him to face Butpul, and that he would rather face the 10-year ban handed to him. Furthermore, British support for Ukraine made its way to the Premier League, where captains wore armbands in the traditional Ukrainian blue and yellow, and the message "Football stands together" was displayed before games to show solidarity. Now, Premier League games are colossal events, garnering millions of viewers nearly every weekend. For example, in January 2023, a match between Liverpool and Manchester United saw 4.8 million viewers tuning in, to a disappointing 0-0 score. Evidently, this gesture made the British stance clear to many new people. Additionally, UEFA banned Russian clubs from competing in its competitions, citing its support for Ukraine. On the other hand, sports are also effective in sending messages and improving bilateral relations. This use of sports as a diplomatic tool has earned the rather fitting name, sports diplomacy. An example of this is in the late 1970s, where the United States and China entered into a series of bilateral table tennis championships in an effort to strengthen ties and promote friendship. After a period of animosity between the two sides, these games helped to humanize the people from each country. According to the United States Diplomacy Center, a meeting between American Glenn Cohen and his Chinese counterpart Zhang Zedong was the spark which led to a surprise invitation being extended to the US to play an exhibition match in China. Now, the US passport at the time had a page dedicated to warning civilians that travel to a list of communist-controlled countries would be severely punished. US state officials traveling with the American athletes at the time made a simple yet profound change, carefully crossing out China from the list of countries. One such passport, belonging to a US Open champion Connie Sweary, is still with the Diplomacy Center today. Similarly, the long-standing rivalry between India and Pakistan, dating back to the 1947 partition, was flaring up again around 2010, when a tennis duo, Rohan Bopanna of India and Asim ul Haq Qureshi of Pakistan, took the US Open by storm, reaching the finals and being dubbed the Indo-Pak Express. The two shared a friendship in their youth, first playing together around 2003. But they truly became an inseparable duo in 2007 and began to gain international recognition. Suddenly, two nations that were historical rivals were supporting the same team. They were supporting each other. Asim ul Haq would go on to win the Arthur Ashe Humanitarian of the Year Award for a non-profit organization which he started, taking on the slogan, "Stop War, Start Tennis." Speaking about this achievement, he told the BBC, "Sports can be used to mend fences and bring people together. I have always believed that sports transcends all boundaries of religion, politics, caste, and creed." In conclusion, politics can have a profound and immense impact on every aspect of the sports world and vice versa. This link can have its benefits, but can be dangerous to the integrity of sports when misused. This is because sports are regarded as an escape from worldly affairs and issues. If these same conflicts make their way into sports, many people will be left without an outlet for their troubles and anxieties, causing them to turn away from sports altogether. And of course, the benefits of sports is a whole nother TED Talk. I would like to end my speech with a quote from the late runner Philbert Bayi. To say that politics is not a part of sports is not being realistic. When I run, I am more than a runner. I am a diplomat, an ambassador for my country. Thank you.